What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles. Welcome you to another edition of Lyles Figure Files. So, leap year, crazy, every 4 years, 4 years to get them every so often. But today we got something that's not as rare, thankfully, the G.I. Joe live stream. And some of the steam may have leaked a little bit early with the release of the pictures last night. They all just kind of dropped. Normally get like one or two little teases, but everything dropped last night. I didn't want to do a reaction to that because I like giving the classified series team their moment in the spotlight to show off all the stuff the way they intended. And then I react to their response and their breakdown of all the features and all that good stuff. So apologies if you were looking for my reaction to that last night. Anyway, today's live stream, we got a few name reveals. It started off with two, but then Emily was like, wait, I'm miscounting. Let me throw in another name for you. The first one is one I am very excited to see how he turns out because one of my favorites from the 86 squad. Let's take a look. First up, Dial Tone. And Dial Tone screams a candidate to get a new makeover. I mean, his backpack rig is so probably what 1986 designers were thinking future tech would look like. Not quite, but I feel like they could still use this design somewhat. I'm really curious to see how he gets interpreted for the new year for 2024. Hopefully, I mean, I feel like we're getting these name announcements, then the renders, and then bam, the pre-orders the very next time. So maybe it won't be that far off before you get them. But in addition to him, and make sure by all things sacred to keep this guy away from your dock, your quick kick figures on your stands is the Saw Viper. And if you read the comic book, you get that reference. But Saw Viper should be another really cool figure. His big, heavy machine gun. It's funny because Larry Hama never really kind of pitted him up against, or the Saw Vipers in general, against Roadblock or Rock and Roll. No, he just mowed down a bunch of Joes and left all kinds of trauma, the likes of which I hadn't seen since Optimus Prime turned to ash the first time. But Saw Viper is a really cool character, cool design. I don't know how many of these I'm going to army build because I almost kind of feel like he's a character all on his own. But when that was the first time and probably only time in the line where I felt like one grunt was good enough. But yeah, maybe two, maybe three. I feel like three is probably overkill, maybe two. But anyway, the Saw Viper will be a really cool addition to the series. So I'm looking forward to see what they do with him. Not as open to different interpretations, so we know that much. The third one that got announced later on in the stream was the Frag Viper. This is the Cobra grenade thrower. And this is kind of interesting because he's got that scoop-like device. That'll be really cool to see what they do with that come, the next time. So the scoop is kind of slanted like this. So he's kind of like a lacrosse player. Back in the days, we probably get some really cool lacrosse detailing on this guy's background and how Cobra only looked for the snootiest, elitist lacrosse players who got kicked out for being too rowdy and recruited them to be Frag Vipers. But this is a different color scheme for Cobra Troops, so that'll be cool. This orange and blue and that really unique design helmet. So that'll be really fun to add him into the mix as well. I figure that's one. I'll pit them up against, Bazooka, Zap, and eventually Hardball. But I found it really interesting that the Joe Classified Series team is really, really going in on these army builders from, I say late in the line, but you know what I'm talking about, like the 89, 90 style era where we didn't have as many unique Joes. And, just to reinforce that point, let's go to our friends over at 3D Joes because they have a great breakdown on all the figures and characters from 1989, and they have done really solid work here, knocking out a bunch of these characters as of late. So here's a look at them. Here's a 89 series. You see Alley Viper, no one else, none of the Joes. We got Heat Viper, and that's one I'm really, really looking forward to seeing because I love that design. Gnawgahyde, got the Frag Viper now, and no Night Viper just yet, which is also surprising. And so, we were starting to get a little bit more of these army builders. And then, let's go on to 88 because that was another year that I feel like they were starting to hit up pretty hard in terms of these Vipers. We know we got the Iron Grenadier coming. Got Shockwave as well. Maybe it's 90. I mean, I was just going forward here. I thought that was the massive army builder year that they were going for all these guys. But here we go. We got the Range Viper. We got Metalhead, the Night Creeper. So, and Saw Viper was in this one, not that one before. Wouldn't mind getting Undertow. But you see, they're starting to knock out some of these characters. And not a lot of the Joes are making the cut, which I think is probably just a coincidence, but I didn't think most of those Joes were as cool as some of the earlier ones. But the Cobras, their army builders in particular, look really great. So it's nice to see Cobra adding some very cool grunts to the fold. Now, we also got some renders when they announced we got 4 renders. That was really hyped up because I was like, oh shoot, what are we going to see and what are we going to hear about? Because gotten some names before, but I was hoping they'd sneak in something that we hadn't heard. And this was probably the most anticlimactic, and that's like a weird oxymoron there, but it was just so like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, we kind of knew these were coming, and not really because they were leaked out and all this stuff, but just because they said we were getting this, and it wasn't really a lot to show off in terms of, oh, what a cool new design for this. And you know what I'm talking about? First up was the one that I was most excited about, and that's Beachhead and the retro version of Beachhead. So he's got the pouch pack like Snake Eyes, his classified retro figure. He's got a pair of knives, and they go all over. He's got a much smaller backpack. I'm curious to see if you can put that crossbow on. Yeah, I guess you can because it's right here. So I assume it's the same deal. He's got a pair of grenades. And interestingly enough, he's still got colored weapons. So no black gear for his weapons. But that's keeping in mind how his figure was back in the day. But for those of you who were like, I'm tired of this Nerf look for Beachhead, get rid of it. It's not going away. It's still here. It's still standing. And sorry, you're just going to have to deal with it a little bit longer. And let me just pop this in really fast here just to go classic old school, because I felt like I'm probably misremembering this. But let's just do this. Let's go back to 3D Joe's and see what the deal is with Beachhead and all of his colors. I felt like, yeah, they weren't green when they came out, but for whatever reason, Hasbro, the design team was like, this is our look for Beachhead. And gray machine gun, but I'm really happy. So you see what we got here. The pouch is back intact, the backpack, the knives, all that good stuff. So, I mean, Beachhead looks much better, I think, than that newer version. And he was really hard to pose and do all that stuff with, some of which was just because they were still trying to figure out what the heck they were doing with this line. And now they've got a better sense of it. So, I think this version of Beachhead is a huge improvement over that other one, and cannot wait to get him and to replace the old Cobra Island version of Beachhead. Get him out of here. I mean, the figure was fine, but this is such an improvement. And I feel like the Classified Series team has gotten a lot better with the camouflage on these figures. And we see that with the figure I'm going to show later. But Beachhead's camo looks really great. And I hope and think that the way they got his flak vest on here now will allow for a lot more posability in that midsection, so he should have better range and be able to do and hit some better poses. But Beachhead was the one I was most interested in seeing how he turned out. Sadly for me, no retro Flint got worked into the mix and shown today, but maybe next time. But we did get the retro Cobra Eel, and I'm trying to find all the differences. Maybe you guys can help me out, but this is the old school version of the eel, and it's fine. Nothing really dramatic. I'm going to get that one, of course, so I can continue to army build the mess out of those guys. But it's not a situation where like, oh man, what a ripoff. We got this figure. It's just a matter of I wanted to see some renders of new figures. And another one that we knew was coming, we've already seen what it looks like. It's more or less a repaint. It's the Snow Serpent, and I definitely appreciate that brighter hue of blue. The backpack is a little bit more solid. Snow shoes, no snowboard, no mortar still. I was really hoping that this one would get it, just so they could have that mold that they could incorporate for hopefully the soon to come short fuse. But I definitely like this pop of blue a lot more. It looks like a brighter shade of white, so I can have my 3 Wolf Squad Snow Serpents and then just have a whole bunch of these guys, because the army building on here is going to be wild and ridiculous with both them and the eels. I had a bunch of eels, but I wouldn't mind having some more. There are a lot of underwater Joes, and the eel figures were really great. So I'm happy to continue adding to my mass collection of those guys. Next up is, I'm making sure not to show you all my tabs, because I know some of y'all like, what's the deal with all these tabs? So that's why I'm taking a second more to get to them. Next up, the Cobra Ferret, and this is cool. I'm really excited about this one with driver Scout. Scout, if you watch the live stream, is really cool. This helmet piece here looks like a BMX motocross driver. I like this armor piece too, because that helps make her a little bit more unique. So that's really cool. And you know, Lenny is my dude, because when he mentioned this, he said, I can't wait to post Tomax's Amon on. It's like, yes, or Firefly and Storm Shadow, but this is gonna be cool. I love all these details they're putting on here, just the lining, the small caution exhaust, all this stuff, because this was absolutely what was back in the day with the decals that you would put on there yourselves. I think it's hilarious that Cobra has all these warnings, like no step. And the whole point of Cobra being counterculture, breaking the rules. These guys are stepping all over this thing and going crazy. But yeah, I can't wait to put Tomax's Amon on that. That's one of their signature vehicles to me. If I can build the loop, so I can have Flint or Footloose on the top of it and them on the inside, and then just doing the whole thing like the commercial, that'd be really fun. So I am so excited to get the Ferret. Great vehicle, and another one of those smaller scale ones that I was like, oh man, this would be so easy for them to do and knock out, and we got it. So very happy to see that. Right now, you can get this from Target, another one of my affiliates. It is the Tiger Force Roadblock and Tripwire. No rats running around this time with Tripwire. Roadblock looks cool, and he's got the Mondoose, and he's got the backpack, and I'm just like, I'm not buying this set just for that. I'm not. I really am not going to do it. As far as the Tiger Force colors go, this is probably not the most garish combination, but you know, Tripwire's still there regular on Pulse. He's not sold out, so curious inclusion, but you know, it's one of those deals for people who really want to build up their Tiger Force, get him complete. There you go. So I'm not going to hate on that. I mean, I feel like that makes sense. The shot of Roadblock that I'm about to pull up is so cool, because this is what I want to do with a real machine gun for Roadblock. So he's laying here, and they did mention the paint on his face here is a little tiger stripe, so he can go tiger style if he sees Sagat out in the jungles as well. So that's pretty nice. I love the shot though. He's got a Tiger Force decal on the machine gun as well, but that's really cool. And you can feed it in, and this is what I'm talking about. My classified series. Let me do all this stuff that I wanted to do back in the days with my Joes. Not that I wasn't, but with higher quality sculpts, paint jobs, accessories, you name it. That's what they're bringing. That's what they're delivering in this classified series line. And here's our glamour shot of Tripwire. And again, these guys are available right now on Target.com and Hasbro Pulse for for premium Pulse members. Everybody else can get them in a very short minute. I'm sure by the time you watch this video, they'll be up. But Tripwire's colors look wild and kind of colorful. I don't mind his as much. But yeah, there's Tripwire, the clumsy Joe. So he's there doing his thing and looks pretty cool. I mean, for Tiger Force fans, I don't think you'll be too upset. The only question I have with them, however, is we've seen so much of the Tiger Force figures drop down, and hey, they are now discounted. So I wonder if this set is really worth it to people, because it's not like you're not going to be able to get it. Just to show you what I'm talking about, Tiger Force Dusty is now $20.81, and this set is $55. So I mean, is it worth $55? I guess that's really up to you. Roblox certainly looks cool though. I mean, this dude looks great. Trying to look at his head sculpt a little bit different, see if it's the exact same one as before. But I mean, look at his pictures. That's cool. And Roblox is just, I mean, you gotta have Roblox if you don't have one in your collection. And this one is not as terrible in terms of the goofy repaints as some of the other ones. I mean, for the most part, this is Roblox, so pretty cool and a really nice, fun inclusion in the line. See them, no Easter eggs in these pictures that I saw. No Python Patrol, Cobras running around. Add some more to it, maybe next time. But there you go. So $55 for that 2-pack. But maybe it'll go on sale a little bit later on for those of you who prefer to wait for those guys. Now, I figure I'm pre-ordering ASAP today is one that I've been clamoring for months, and so happy that I can still pre-order him in February, the last day of February. But we get him, Doc, my man Doc, keep him away from the Saw Viper, like I said. Great update to this guy. Just so happy with him. He's got a taser, no gun, because Doc's a pacifist, but he's still able to take care of himself as need be. Got little mashes there, so watch out. He's got a flare gun, so he's got all the stuff in place that he can be formidable in a fighting situation, which I really like. I like the roll-up sleeves. I know some people don't, but I feel like, Doc is going to make sure he gets in there if he's got to do a little quick emergency surgery. So he's there and ready. So very excited about him. Excuse me, too excited. And I've come around on this helmet. I love the fact that his uniform to everybody else is just tan, like Doc's was. It's got the, man, what are these? Kind of look like they're this, maybe just because of the color, the orange and the white. They kind of resemble prescription bottles, and he just got them. So hey, take 2 of these and call me in the morning. I love the fact that he has a stretcher and it fits on his backpack. I think that is such clever engineering and definitely a cool additional feature for him, and not one that I would have been, oh man, I can't believe they didn't include this. Fine, whatever. But I'm so happy they did that. And here's Doc now about to pop the flare. Let's get Shockwave the heck out of here. This battle's been crazy and wild. They did mention this during the live stream, but all these pouches can be placed on and off the different portions of Doc. Looks like maybe an EpiPen here, a flashlight. I love this extra detailing on this guy. I mean, Doc is such an essential character to your Joe team. I mean, these guys can't run around and not get shot. They've got to get some bullets in them. Doc's got to come through. It's kind of interesting because this looks like the old school foot pegs. But Lenny did mention that you can have 2 Joes on either side holding the stretcher. Great. So it's not a deal of, oh, I can only have them laying on the ground like this. You can actually do the full, in the middle of emergency. Now I'm really curious. Hopefully you guys can tell me what that is there that is on the right side of Doc's belt. But that's, his vest, not the belt. But so excited to get Doc. And yeah. So then we've got just another shot of him and everything can come off. We've got the glasses, the helmets. Hopefully they fit better than buzzers. But yeah, the glasses are off here. The difference, these really look like prescription bottles to me. I'm not quite sure what this is. Is this a new accessory piece here? Is this something that comes with Doc or Jinx? But anyway, he could just take all this stuff off. So cool. He's focused. He's ready to help his fellow Joes in this battle. And it's really cool because Doc is my dude. I'm so happy to get this guy in the line early. Early-esque. We're already in the hundreds, but, we get him before Lifeline. I'm excited about that. So we got another shot of him and with the helmet off. So you can see the full-scale look of Doc as he appeared most often in the cartoon. Darn it, let's see here. This is going to drive me nuts. They really, I'm sure they're not, but I'm going to pretend in my G.I. Joe that those are prescription bottles. And I'm really curious how hard it'll be to take this vest off if I want to just have a really slim, streamlined, basic Doc. Love his expression. Love the green tinted glasses. Those look really great. Doc is ready to go. And, dude, who could ask for anything more with this guy? I'm sure some people will go sleeves. That's what I could ask for. But I'm fine, happy with this. And I think they did a complete bang-up job with him and just Great job, Hasbro, knocking it out. See, here's Doc holding the stretcher. And you know, imagine there's another on the other side, and Shockwave being escorted out. And Doc is serious. I just, man, this figure looks so cool. And he's going to add so much to the storytelling in terms of posing. You figure Breaker on one end, Doc patching up somebody. I mean, there's going to be a premium on small scale tape that you can wrap around your figures, legs, arms, heads, whatever, because Doc is on the scene patching everybody up. So very excited about Doc, and a very overdue but necessary addition to my classified series lineup. So, all right, I'm just gonna have to break what I just said. I'm gonna put up in Windows, so bear with me, all y'all who are tab averse. All right, next up is the Night Creeper, and this guy, gosh, so cool, and all this detail. Like I said again, the camo, they seem like they finally figured it out. Like characters like Stalker, Lieutenant Falcon, they didn't have the full camo effect that they needed, but now we got it. And Night Creeper's camo looks great, and all these different colors really pop on the figure. I mean, the crossbow, the swords, the daggers. I mean, his design is so cool. And the only real question is how many? How many will be enough of this guy to add to the collection? And see him facing off with Jinx here. He's got the Shuriken, the throwing star, more camo tiger stripe style on this part, and the dagger. Lenny was saying, hey, one of these is poison tip, so I like that. Addition to, got the battle core helmet, so very cool stuff with the Night Creeper. And you love to see, or I love to see, how they put so much stuff on these guys. You got the two daggers, and then he did mention the circle here. That's a nice touch for him. The crossbow shooting 1, 2, 3, 4, and then your separate bolt that you can put on top. Nice touch. Love the angles, you know, the curvature of these blades. More bolts here as well for the crossbow. Different hand sculpts. I mean, this guy is really loaded out for a regular figure. Shh, don't tell anybody that this is a lot of gear for a non-deluxe figure. So very happy with how he turned out. Great design, and just how many is enough of the Night Creeper, especially when you can kit him up. You can have him holding one sword, one dagger, and or both daggers, both swords, holding the crossbows. There is a ton of variety with this figure. I mean, different helmets even. So yeah, that is really going to be a cool aspect of that one, and that's a really great aspect in general in terms of the army building capabilities, potential of the classified series line. And finally, I don't know why it took long, but now we finally got Dreadnok Torch. And this is such a cool touch. They threw in this skeleton to breathe out the exhaust of the flames, just to give it that crazier look. In the skull belt here, I mean, this guy's heavy in the skulls, which makes sense here. I mean, he's got, let's do a quick skull count. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's all about the skulls and all these spikes, and you gotta hope that they're all painted nicely. But yeah, this is really cool. And I mean, Torch is definitely a necessary, essential member of your your Cobras, because you got your original 3 Dreadnoks now. So we've got him burning it up, and he doesn't care. Like, the whole place burned down. And these fire effects, I think they said Corey shot these, not shooting the Galaxy Matt. So that was cool. And Corey's still shooting for him. But man, Torch looks great. And having Buzzer and Ripper without their mate just felt wrong. Now we finally get that fixed. This current wave that's supposed to be coming out any day now is slated for April. So I would assume maybe June is what we're looking at for these guys. But yeah, I'm hoping it won't be too much longer before I have my original 3 Dreadnoks together. And he's got flames on his pants too. Wild touch. And Lenny said he spelled Nox wrong, Dreadnoks wrong. And I think that's kind of funny. Nice touch, because why should Torch know? But jeez, the flames on this thing, so cool. And just absolutely another agent of chaos that Zartan hangs out with to bring mayhem, to cause mass destruction with such a small crew running around with him. So I love that so much with these guys. And yeah, let's just keep going with the fun almost done. It's almost 1 o'clock, so I gotta get my pre-orders in. And here's Torch running around with his 2 pistols. That's nice because he needs to have some stuff when he doesn't have his flamethrower around. And I'm hoping these chains will stay up with no problem. They won't go sliding back and forth because you don't want to have to tangle with them. But it's nice that they also gave him some pistols as well. Then Jinx. And Jinx is amazing. My only question is how tall will she be? Will she be short like Storm Shadow? Because you don't want her taller than her cousin Tommy. And her gear looks great. I love the fact that they took the sleeves off to show off the tattoo. I think that's such a great addition to her. And her weapons, her accessories really do make the figure in this case. And she's knocking out Torch, stopping this arsonist from torching up the whole city. And just a really, just everything like the additional maroon, so she's not all red. I think it just works. The decisions with Jinx are such smart design choices and makes for a really great figure. And I'm really happy with how she turned out, as you would expect. But here's another shot of her. She just looks cool. She's a ninja, so for the most part, she's going to look cool in any setting, in any situation. But I think they really plussed her up to the point where it's like, man, Jinx might just be one of the best figures they've done in this line in total. And wow, just really, really impressed with how she turned out. Here you see her again with the unmasked head sculpt. Tighter look at this tattoo. Great work here. They said there's some indigo and some pink. Just a nice touch there. The forearm wraps and glows, so she's got a little bit tougher appearance. Her pendant here, and this head sculpt, maybe the best one they've done for a female figure so far. But I love to see Lady J get another crack. We've seen Scarlet. She looks like hers is much improved over the original, which was okay. But let us see Lady J and CoverGirl get the same touch we've seen now with Scarlet and with Jinx. Two tremendous head sculpts. Next up is Gnawgahyde, the deluxe figure in this set. And while he has a bunch of accessory reuse, I think they really did an awesome job with him. Just so much fun gear on this dude, and just, man, great looking figure. He looks awesome. And the pelt, the Jaguar pelt, has a real great texture to it. His sidekicks, Pork Belly, the Warthog, and Yabo, such a nice inclusion for this dude. And like I mentioned earlier, he's got a lot of reuse. This is low light sniper rifle. He's got Zartan's crossbow and a backpack that I think we've seen several times already. I think the machete is new. His hat, of course, is. But they added some cool extra touches like these scratches in his head. And he really looks like a low down, dirty rat Dreadnok, and just waiting to poach off some animals to sell them for gear and whatever the heck else he's doing. So just really fun addition. Another Dreadnok. Hopefully Monkey Wrench isn't too far behind. And then the packaging. Not loving the packaging. I don't like this all black thing. It's like I love the color schemes we had, the green, the blue. It's just this black is boring and just isn't nearly as much fun as what we were getting before with the outstanding colorful artwork on the front. I didn't mind G.I. Joe being closed up since most of the time parts weren't swapped, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of this. And the last reveal was the Heat Seeker for the His Tank. And I know they said, they teased earlier that maybe your His Tank will hold something else. We all thought that was going to be the final tier, but it's not. This is a separate accessory, separate piece. But this looks great all together. This is the 788 team, Fire Strike team, the His Tank, and then the missile launcher. These missiles are massive. They look like they're ready to gun down Sky Strikers, Dragonflies. Jeez, anything that's going up in the air, they're ready to shoot down. So that's just really cool. And yeah, all that great detail. More of that. Stand back, caution, etc. And I wish we had a count of how many Dragonflies and Sky Strikers it took down. But so cool to see that. Really great additions. Just my quick initial thoughts. Of course, I'll be back on here for the full-on live stream to get your thoughts. So, you can comment as always, or you can just shoot the breeze with me. I'm going to recap all of this again on tonight's live stream, just interacting big time with you all. But thank you so much. It's time to go pre-order some Joes. This episode of Loud's Figure Files has been filed.